All right, second grade, we're going to go to our math lesson. Remember, we're still working with subtracting with 100s, and this is lesson 11-7, Make Sense and Persevere. Our I can solve problems that take more than one step. So right away we know that these are the kinds of questions where there's a hidden question inside before we can find the answer. Before we can get to work, we'll have to find a hidden question first. All right, so let's start with solve and share. And our friend here says, Jody wants to bake 350 muffins. She bakes one batch of 160 muffins and one batch of 145 muffins. How many more muffins does Jody need to bake? Okay, so our first question is, the thing we're trying to find out is, how many more does she need to bake? So she hasn't quite made 350 yet. She wants to make 350 total. She's not there yet, so our hidden question is we need to find out how many she's made so far. All right? And the way we can find out how many she's made so far is to look at, well, how many she's made. She has one batch of 160 and another batch of 145. So to find out how many she's made so far, we'll need to add the two batches together. 160 and 145. Sorry, I'm just trying to shrink that little bar down there. I don't think it's going. All right, so we're going to add those two. And in the ones place, I just have a 0 and a 5, so we're going to bring that 5 back down. In the tens place, we have 6 and 4, and that's going to equal 10. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the 0 there and give the 1 to the neighbor in the hundreds place. And all that together is 305. You see I had to do some regrouping right there. Okay, so now we know part 1, the hidden question. How many has she made so far? It's 305 muffins. But our original question was, how many more does she need to bake? All right, well, Jody wants to make 350. Remember, when you see that word, how many more, that means we're subtracting. We're finding the difference between her goal of 350 and what she's done so far, 305. So I'm going to line up my numbers again. This time I'm going to subtract instead of add. And in the ones place, I don't have enough to subtract. So I'll need to regroup. That means borrow from the neighbor. We're going to turn our 5 tens into 4 tens. And we're going to bring one set of tens over to the ones place to make that 0 into a 10. And 10 minus 5 is 5. We remember that. Now in the tens place, I have 4. I'm not taking anything away, so we'll just bring the 4 down. And in the hundreds place, it's 3 minus 3, so there's not going to be anything there. And I don't need to write 0 to know that she needs to make 45 more muffins to reach her goal. All right, Jody, good luck with that. We're going to go to the next page. And our friend here is telling us some more tips on how to figure out the hidden question. All right, let's hear what she's got to say. So grade 2, that's you guys. Grade 2 wants to sell 10 more tickets to the school play than grade 1. All right, so we want to sell 10 more tickets than Miss A's class. And the first graders the first graders sold 476 tickets. And grade 2 wants to sell, grade 2 has sold 439 tickets. How many more tickets does grade 2 have to sell to reach their goal? All right, and our friend says, how can I make sense of the problem? I can see what I know, I can find hidden questions, I can choose a strategy to solve the problem. All right, well, our question is, how many more tickets? does grade 2 have to sell to reach their goal? So we know, remember what I said last time, how many more? That means subtraction. But we can't do it yet, because remember, this whole lesson is all about the hidden question, and the first thing we need to do is find out exactly what second grade's goal is. And we don't know what their goal is, other than that they want to sell 10 more than the first graders. Right? So an easy first step is to answer the hidden question. What is the second grade goal? Okay, we know that their goal is to sell 10 more than the first graders. And the first graders have sold 476 tickets. So, second grade's goal is to sell 10 more tickets than first grade. First grade has sold 476, so that means second grade's goal is going to be 476 plus 10, which is 486, according to that equation. So now that we know that it's 486 tickets, now we can subtract the number of tickets grade 2 sold from their goal. Alright, their goal is 486. They've sold 439, and it looks like we're gonna need to sell 47 tickets, guys. We'll need to sell 47 more tickets in order to beat first grade. Alright, but the important thing here is that we have to look for hidden questions before we can answer the thing they're actually asking us. Let's take a look at, I'm just going to bring my toolbar down, and let's take a look at number 1. Kim had 455 shells. Okay, I'm going to underline that. First, she gives 134 of the shells to a friend. Then she finds 54 more shells. How many shells does Kim have now? Alright, well, we know she started with 455, and we know we're being asked how many she ends up with. So what two things happen that will help us figure out how many she ended up with? Alright, well, first she gave some away. And when you see that someone gave something away or gives something away, the math operation we're going to use is subtraction. So we know our first hidden question is going to be a subtraction question. And she gave away how much? That's right, 134. So the first thing we have to do is find out 455 minus 134. Okay, I don't see any regrouping necessary, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract. Alright, so she ends up with 321. So she had 455, she gave 134 to her friend, and she's left with 321. The next thing that happens to her is that she finds 54 more shells. So now does she have more shells or less, or fewer, I mean? She has more shells. She found 54 on the ground and picked them right up, added them to her collection. So that means our second question is 321 plus 54. Okay, no regrouping here either. 5, 7, 3. Now she has 375 shells. Alright, I want you to try Do You Understand? And then we're going to look at independent practice. Okay, and here we have a table showing us how many animals, or showing us different animals and how much they weigh. You will need to use this table to solve each problem. In number 2, we're being asked how much heavier is a grizzly bear than an Arctic wolf and a black bear together. Alright, well I know this whole lesson is about hidden questions, so I know that there's a hidden question somewhere in here. And that hidden question is, how much are an Arctic wolf and a black bear together? So what math operation are you going to do to figure out how much an Arctic wolf and a black bear are together? Are you going to add Arctic wolf plus black bear, or are you going to subtract? Alright, well I see the word together, so that means we're going to add. We'll add Arctic wolf, which is 176 pounds, and we're going to add black bear. That's what we have to do before we can figure out the difference between those two animals and the grizzly bear. Okay, if I'm adding Arctic wolf and black bear, are they going to weigh more than the grizzly bear? Or less? Let's find out. Oh, and I think I'm going to need to do some regrouping because my tens place has a number more than 10. Okay, so they weigh together, they weigh less than the grizzly bear. So our first question, how much heavier is a grizzly bear than an Arctic wolf and a black bear together? Well, we're really being asked what is the difference in weight between the grizzly bear and those other two animals. And to find that out, we would subtract the weight of those two animals from the weight of the grizzly bear. That's what that one would look like. Now in number 3, they're asking us how much less does a black bear weigh than the weight of 2 mule deer. Alright, well 1 mule deer weighs 198 pounds. Okay, and we're being asked how much less does a black bear weigh than the weight of 2 mule deer. Alright, how much less does the black bear weigh? That means there's going to be subtraction involved. But first, what is our hidden question? Our hidden question is, what is the weight of 2 mule deer? The weight of 2 mule deer, well, we got to figure that one out first, and then we can find the difference between 2 of those guys and the black bear. Alright, after that we're going to go to number 4. And our question is, how much more does a polar bear weigh than an Arctic wolf, a black bear, and a mule deer together? So that one looks like you're going to have to figure out 3 animals combined. Then I want you to go on to math practices, where you're going to need to use the diagram of this truck and the the height of this truck in inches to solve numbers 5, 6, and 7. All right, good luck.